Hello, people. I bring you greetings in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I remain yours, Mark Martins, Bible teacher, writer, author, societal development advocate. Today on CAS, we would still continue our discussion on church and societal development. In our last episode, we considered Genesis 2:15 as one of the biblical grounds for church commitment to societal development. Today we are looking at another Bible text which is found in the New Testament, Matthew chapter 5 from verse 13 to verse 16. Let me read from the NIV. These are the words of Jesus Christ himself. He says, "You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled by men. You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven." These are the words of Jesus Christ, and he was speaking to his disciples at that time. Let's be careful to note that Jesus was speaking to his disciples. He wasn't speaking to the crowd. He wasn't speaking to just anybody. He was speaking to his disciples, specifically his chosen people, his called out people, his covenanted people he has redeemed and made righteous. And another thing that I'd like us to note here, Jesus wasn't speaking to one person. He was speaking to a group of people. So what this means is that this series of imperatives or this description is referring to the church, a group of Christians, a community of God's people. It's not referring to one Christian. When Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth, you are the light of the world," he is not referring to one Christian. What he is saying is that you, my people, my followers, as a church, as a body, as a community, you collectively are the salt of the earth, you are the light of the world, and you are the city set on a hill. Let's try to understand what these three expressions mean. First, we need to establish that these three expressions are figurative expressions. They symbolize, they have meanings. First, Jesus say his people, the church, are the light of the salt of the earth. What do we use salt for? Simply, salt is more or less like solution. We use salt to prevent things from getting rotten. We use salt to prevent things from spoiling. Also, we use salt in order to bring about healing. That is what Jesus is saying. We also use salt for preservation purposes. That is what Jesus is saying. Basically, Jesus is saying, as my people, you are the solution that the society is looking for. Now, our world is full of problems. Our society is full of problems. Nigeria as a country, we know that has a lot of problems, tons and tons of problems in the political arena, in the economic sector, in the educational system. You realize that our country is full of problems. Jesus is saying that the solution to these problems, we Christians, we his followers, are the solution to these problems. Practically, what this implies is that wherever we are in this society, we should provide solution to these problems. Again, this is saying that we are the ones that preserve this society. Without us as a church, if the church is not doing its function, there is high propensity that this society, this geopolitical entity called Nigeria, could go into extinction. Second, Jesus say that you are the salt, you are the light of the world. Basically, as a figure of speech, light refers to knowledge, refers to, symbolizes knowledge, symbolizes understanding, symbolizes wisdom. And where there is knowledge, there is wisdom, there is understanding, you should know that there will be direction. What Jesus is saying is that the church is the direction of the world. No wonder, as the church, so is the society. I like to say this over and over. I tell people this thing. Nigeria can never get better unless the church in Nigeria gets better. And the Nigerian politics, for instance, because we like to complain a lot about the politics going on in Nigeria, but I tell you something, unless the politics going on in our churches, we get it right in our politics, in our church politics, we cannot get it right in the politics of our society. Why? Because the church is the direction of the society. Where the church is heading to, that is where the society is heading to. Third, Jesus say, you are a city that is set on a hill. Jesus is simply saying the church is set on a hill. This is a symbol of prominence. You will never hear of an expression like an underdeveloped city. Once we say a city is developed, and once we call a place a city, what it implies is that that place is a developed place. Maybe except in Africa, one of my professors would like to say that Africa's cities are glorified villages. Maybe he has a point there, though he makes that statement to make humor. But the point here is that, the point I'm making here is that once we call a place a city, what that means is that that place is a developed place. So when Jesus say his people are the city, and that city is set on a hill, Jesus is saying that his people are the development of the society. Now look at it this way. This is not referring to Yoruba people or Igbo people or Hausa people. No. This is not referring to the political class. This is not referring to the bourgeoisie. This is not referring to those who are economically rich and wealthy. This is referring to the church, the God's own people, God's redeemed people. That we as a church, we are the development of this society, and we occupy a status of prominence. The way the church is, it can never be hidden. The church can never be hidden. Even if we operate in hiding, the church occupies a status of prominence. With, looking at all these three figurative expressions and their implications, you know very well the church has no any other option than to commit itself to the development of the society. We need to commit ourselves to the development of our society, and especially here in Nigeria, the church has a lot to do to contribute to the development of society. Look at our educational sector. Look at our health system. Look at our political arena. Look at our economy. These are all areas that need development, that are crying with loud voice that there is a lot of underdevelopment in this country. The church needs to rise up. And I pray that as we watch this, we will be challenged as individuals to start stirring up, gathering ourselves together for the purpose of the development of this society. By God's grace, in our next episode, we'll look at another Bible text that has a lot of implications on the church as it relates to the development of the society. But until then, remember to subscribe, to watch this video and watch our previous videos, and also like and then share with others. Thank you very much. Remain blessed.